What if the next car that picks you up on the street has no driver at all? No hands on the wheel, no person watching the road, just a machine deciding your fate in traffic. That is not science fiction anymore, because it is already happening on the streets of Europe right now. A massive deal has just been signed that will put thousands of driverless taxis onto European roads within the coming months. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what is coming, which cities are affected, and why this could change the way an entire continent moves forever. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this channel breaks down the biggest tech stories happening right now, before most people even hear about them. We dig deep, we explain the real story behind the headlines, and we do it without wasting your time. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on technology, robotics, and the future of transportation, this is exactly the kind of channel you need to be following. Now let's get into the story, because this one is bigger than most people realize. Uber and a Chinese company called Pony.ai have just announced a massive expansion of their partnership, and the numbers are staggering. Together, they plan to deploy more than 2,000 robotaxis across Europe in the coming period. This is not a small pilot project or a limited test in one city. This is a full-scale commercial rollout designed to change how millions of Europeans travel every single day. The scale of this deal instantly makes it one of the biggest autonomous vehicle announcements the continent has ever seen. To understand how big this really is, you need to know where it all started. The story actually began quietly in the Croatian capital of Zagreb, where Uber, Pony.ai, and a local mobility company called Vern launched Europe's very first commercial robotaxi service earlier this year. That service proved that fully driverless taxis could actually operate on European streets, dealing with narrow roads, unpredictable pedestrians, and complicated traffic laws. Once that Zagreb pilot showed it could work, both companies decided it was time to scale up dramatically. Now the expanded partnership is set to move far beyond Zagreb into 4 additional European cities. The companies have not officially named these cities yet, saying only that details will be revealed in phases over the coming months. This slow reveal is creating real suspense across the tech and transportation industries, with journalists and analysts trying to guess which major European city will be next. Whatever city gets chosen first will instantly become the center of global attention in the robotaxi race. What makes this deal especially interesting is the business model behind it, something the companies are calling a joint deployment model. Instead of one company doing everything, the plan splits the robotaxi business into 3 separate parts handled by different specialists. Pony.ai supplies the actual self-driving technology, the sensors, the cameras, and the artificial intelligence that controls the vehicle. Uber then provides the platform that riders actually use, meaning the app, the booking system, the payments, and the customer support that people already trust. The third piece of the puzzle is daily fleet management, which includes things like cleaning the cars, charging them, and general maintenance. This part is typically handled by a local partner in each specific market, similar to how Verna operates the fleet in Zagreb. This structure allows the technology to scale quickly into new countries without either Uber or Pony.ai having to build everything from scratch in every single city. It is a smart, modular approach that could become the blueprint for how autonomous vehicles expand around the entire world. Pony.ai itself is not some small, unknown startup either, and this is where the story gets even more interesting. The company is based in Guangzhou, China, and it is already running fully driverless, paid robo-taxi services in major Chinese cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou itself. In some of these Chinese cities, Pony.ai has reportedly reached what is called break-even unit economics, meaning the robo-taxi business is actually profitable on a city-wide scale. That kind of proven track record is exactly why Uber chose this particular partner to lead its European autonomous vehicle push. For Uber, this deal fits perfectly into a much bigger and more ambitious strategy. The company's CEO has publicly stated that Uber wants to become the world's leading commercialization platform for autonomous vehicles, not just in Europe but everywhere. Over the past several years, Uber has quietly partnered with more than 30 different autonomous vehicle companies around the globe. This robotaxi expansion in Europe is simply the latest and largest piece of that much larger puzzle Uber has been building for years. There is also a fascinating data angle to this entire strategy that most people are missing. Uber's leadership has talked about gathering what they call a superset of data from these robotaxi operations. Data that can then be shared with partners to accelerate autonomous vehicle development even further. Every single ride taken by one of these robotaxis generates valuable information about roads, traffic patterns, pedestrian behavior, and edge cases. That data becomes incredibly valuable, potentially making Uber's platform even more essential to the entire autonomous vehicle industry going forward. But Europe is not the only region getting this technology, and that is another important part of the announcement. The expanded partnership between Uber and Pony.ai also includes plans to bring Robotaxis to the Middle East. This actually builds on an earlier collaboration between the two companies that started back in 2025, originally focused specifically on Middle Eastern markets. So while Europe is grabbing most of the headlines today, this is really becoming a truly global robotaxi expansion strategy for both companies. It is worth pausing here to think about what this actually means for ordinary people living in these cities. Imagine opening your Uber app the same way you always have, but this time the car that arrives has absolutely no driver inside. For many people, this will feel strange or even a little unsettling the very first time it happens. Yet for others, it might feel like a normal evolution of ride-hailing apps that people already use every single day without thinking twice. Safety naturally becomes one of the biggest questions surrounding this entire rollout. Robotaxis rely on a combination of cameras, radar, and other sensors to understand their surroundings, and Pony.ai calls its system Level 4 autonomous technology. Level 4 generally means the vehicle can drive itself under most normal conditions without any human intervention required. However, deploying that same technology across multiple new European cities, each with completely different road layouts and driving cultures, will be a serious test of how reliable this technology truly is. European regulators are also going to play an enormous role in how quickly and smoothly this expansion actually happens. Different countries across Europe have different rules, different safety standards, and different levels of comfort with autonomous vehicles operating on public roads. Getting approval in one country does not automatically guarantee approval in the next country over. This is exactly why the companies are choosing to reveal their city selections slowly, in phases, rather than announcing everything all at once right now. Then there is the elephant in the room that nobody can ignore, and that is jobs. Traditional taxi drivers and even Uber's own human drivers across Europe are watching this announcement with understandable concern and worry. If robotaxis prove successful and continue expanding rapidly across the continent, what happens to the thousands of human drivers who currently depend on ride-hailing platforms for their income? Uber has stated that its network of human drivers will continue operating alongside the new robotaxis, at least for now, but the long-term direction of this technology is honestly pretty clear to anyone paying attention. This move also says something much bigger about the shifting balance of power in the global technology industry. A Chinese company is now leading the charge in bringing driverless taxis onto European streets, working in direct partnership with one of America's most recognizable tech giants. For years, many people assumed that American or European companies would naturally lead the entire self-driving car revolution. Instead, Chinese autonomous vehicle technology is proving to be remarkably advanced, and this European deal is proof that it can now compete seriously on a truly global stage. Competition in this exact space is also heating up dramatically at the very same time. Other major players like Waymo and Tesla have their own ambitious plans for autonomous ride-hailing services in different markets around the world. Every single new deal, every new city announcement, and every safety incident gets intense scrutiny from investors, journalists, and everyday consumers watching this fast-growing industry. The race to dominate autonomous transportation is clearly heating up fast, and Europe has now officially become one of its most important and closely watched battlegrounds. Financially speaking, markets have already started reacting to this significant news as well. Shares of Pony.ai moved following the announcement, reflecting genuine investor interest in the long-term potential of this expanded European partnership. Investors are clearly watching closely to see whether this joint deployment model can actually scale successfully beyond a single pilot city like Zagreb. If it works smoothly in even one or two of these new cities, expect other major companies to move quickly and copy this exact same playbook elsewhere. So what should you actually expect to see happen next in the coming months? Watch closely for official announcements naming the 4 new European cities, since that news alone will likely dominate tech headlines for days once it drops. Pay close attention to how local governments and regulators in those cities respond to the news and whether public opinion in each city leans supportive or skeptical of the change. These early public and political reactions will heavily shape exactly how fast this entire robotaxi rollout can move across the rest of the continent. It is genuinely fascinating to think about how quickly all of this has moved in such a short amount of time. Just a matter of months ago, Zagreb quietly became the very first European city with a working commercial robotaxi service. And now that single small pilot has already grown into a continent-spanning strategy involving thousands of vehicles. Technology like this tends to move slowly for a very long time, and then suddenly it seems to accelerate all at once without warning. We may honestly be standing right at that exact turning point in autonomous transportation history, watching it unfold in real time. Whatever happens next, one thing feels absolutely certain after everything we've covered today. The streets of major European cities are about to look noticeably different within the next few years, whether people are fully ready for that change or not. Driverless taxis are no longer some distant, far-off futuristic idea confined to concept videos and press conferences. They are becoming a real, tangible part of daily life for millions of Europeans, starting sooner than most people currently expect. That brings us to the end of today's deep dive into this massive robotaxi expansion story. If you found this breakdown genuinely useful and informative, do not forget to smash that like button, because it truly helps this channel grow and reach more curious people just like you. Drop a comment below and let us know which European city you think will be chosen next for this ambitious robotaxi rollout. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is honestly the perfect moment to join, because we are covering stories exactly like this one every single week, well before they hit the mainstream news. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. It genuinely means a lot to this channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive video like this one again. We will see you in the very next video, where we break down another huge story shaping the future of technology around the world. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and we will catch you next time.